Hi, and thanks for joining. If you're new here, I'm Wendy, and this is Nina's Jewels. My husband and I buy things at garage sales, flea markets, thrift stores, just about anywhere we can find things to sell online and flip for a profit. If that's content you're interested in, you're in the right place. Today's video is going to be what sold for January 7th through 13th. Let's get started. The first thing we sold was a Lululemon women's grapefruit colored cool racerback tank top. We got this at a thrift store. We paid $4.50 and it sold on offer to buyer for $16.48. It took quite a while to sell. It didn't have a size dot in it, so we had to kind of guess at the size based on measurements. We included that information in the title that we were questioning the size and to check the measurements. And it did take a while to sell. We do not do that well with Lululemon. We don't find a lot of newer style Lululemon though, so that's why I don't think that we've been that successful with selling it. We don't pick it up that often when we see it because I think what we find are the older versions. So this only sold for $16.48, so not a lot of profit on that. Next up was a women's OP juniors size hot pink lace swimsuit cover-up pair of shorts. We got these in the storage auction unit that we purchased for $30, so we only paid 24 cents cost on these. And these sold for $14.18 on offer to buyer. So much better profit margin on those. Next up was a Samsung Blu-ray remote control, replacement remote control. We got this at a thrift store in a big bag of remotes. We paid $1.08 for it, and it sold for $11 even on best offer. We tested that remote and it worked. Next up was a men's Lucky Brand button-up chambray shirt. We got this in the Goodwill bins when we were playing Bins Bingo. We paid $1.18 for it, and it sold on offer to buyer for $19.98. This is the second time we have sold this shirt. The second buyer, I mean, they've had it for a while and we haven't heard anything back from them, so I'm pretty sure they were happy with it. Next up was a 9x7 framed and matted print by a Texas artist. Her name is Henrietta Milan, and that is how you pronounce it. It's not Henrietta Milan. It's Henrietta Milan, and it was a print called Water Lilies. This was a very small art print. It was like total size of the piece was like this big, but it was a very nicely done piece. It had like suede mats and stuff like that. This still only sold for $19.98. We had this in our eBay store for a very, very long time, so we were steadily lowering the price, and somebody finally purchased it from us for $19.98. They got a really amazing deal, and we got really nice feedback from them. I'm not surprised because I'm sure when they got it, they were like, oh wow, this is really, really nice. So they were very happy with it. But that came from the other business that we own, which is a custom picture frame shop. Next up was another item we got from that picture frame shop. This was a lot of 29. They were Austrian, German, and Swiss mountain landscape photography prints. These were not like super high quality prints. They actually looked like they had maybe been cut out of a book or maybe even a calendar, but there were more than 12, so they might have come out of multiple calendars or something, but they were very pretty prints. They just didn't seem like they were, you know, super high quality, like, you know, and they seemed like the edges had been cut. So it was unusual. I wasn't sure where they came from. It seemed like maybe somebody had brought them into us to potentially be framed like many, many, many years ago and left them there and then never came back for them because they had been in the store for an extremely long period of time. And then eventually we were like, nobody's ever coming back for these. We didn't have a name left with them. So we just eventually said, we don't know what to do with these, and we decided to sell them. And they stayed in our eBay store for a very long time, and eventually somebody purchased them. So, and actually we have multiple different lots of these. I think we have like 3 or 4 different lots of these. We've sold 2 or 3 lots, and I think we still have maybe another lot or 2 left. So this lot sold for $24.99, which was our full asking price. And we had no cost on those, so that was good. Next up was a lot of 3 antique 8.5-inch oxidized pewter plates We weren't sure, but they seemed like they had a marking on the bottom of them that indicated they were from England. Pewter marks are very difficult to understand, at least for me, when I was researching them. So I just put England ? Because I wasn't sure. These sold for $57.99, which was our full asking price. We got very nice feedback on those, so the buyer was extremely happy with them. We did get these as a gift from a friend who was downsizing from her large home into a townhome and gave us her entire pewter collection to sell just as a gift. So that was a really good sale that we didn't even have any cost associated with, and we got that positive feedback. So we were very pleased with that sale. Next up was something I was like, I don't even know if this is worth listing, but you know, we just decided, my attitude is if we get something that we just already own in maybe like a storage locker or, you know, a big box of something, or if somebody gives us something, I'm probably just going to try to list it for a little while and see if it sells, because you never know what's going to sell. People are sometimes looking for the most random things on eBay. And if it doesn't sell after a little while, I'll just take it down and donate it or get rid of it. And this is an example of that. We actually found this item in a storage locker that we had purchased for $30, and I was like, I don't know, I seriously doubt this is going to sell, but I'm going to list it because you never know what specifically somebody is looking for on eBay. So this was a 10-pack, the brand was AdTech, and these were mini non-yellowing multi-temp hot glue gun sticks. And somebody purchased them from us for $8.99. And our cost on these was just 23 cents. Because when we purchased that unit for $30, I had broken down our cost per item as either 23 or 24 cents, depending on how I made the math work. So that was worth my time, definitely. Next up was another item we got from that same storage unit, and this was a Sean John men's royal blue lavish life t-shirt. And that sold for $19.99, and we had paid just 24 cents for that shirt. So even though that storage unit was very unimpressive in many ways, we have totally made our $30 back over and over and over again from that unit. So worth the time, worth the sweat, worth the energy. We are definitely going to purchase more storage units again in the future, and we have actually purchased another one. We just have not listed anything from it because we are still working on our inventory. Inventory takes us a long time, and we've just had a lot of personal stuff going on. We just have not been as focused on our eBay business as we usually are, so we will get to that storage unit soon, and we have quite the story to tell on that unit, so I can't wait for you guys to watch that video. Next up was a pair of Nike T-Run toddler. Oh, we just got a counter offer. Next up was a pair of Nike T-Run toddler sneakers. They were black sneakers. We got these a long time ago at a 50% off sale at the thrift store. And I was surprised that they took so long to sell, but I did end item and sell similar recently, and that got them to move. We sold those for a full asking price of $22.99, and we had paid $4.50 for those at the thrift store. I thought I turned my... Oh, a rural squirrel liked my comment. So, hi Kristen, thanks for liking my comment. I'm going to turn my sound off now, which I thought I did already. Okay, next up was a VTech Go Smart Wheels press and race dump truck with sounds and lights, and it works, and we even had a little video of it working in our listing. We got that in a big bag of toys at the thrift store that we paid 24 cents for, and it sold for $14.99, which was our full asking price. Next up was a 1995 Score Platinum complete baseball card set of the California Angels Series 1. This belonged to my husband. It came from his personal collection. That sold for just $9.99. That one was not worth much. Next up was a pair of Melissa McCarthy 7 jeans, and I've picked up several of these recently, and I've noticed that these are really good sellers. So if you see these Melissa McCarthy collab with 7 jeans, these are worth picking up. They sell quick. These were medium wash straight capri jeans. These I got at a garage sale for $1, and they sold for $23.98 on offer to buyer. Next up was an H&M women's gray double-breasted pea coat. This actually belonged to me. I went to Vegas. My husband and I went to Vegas on a business trip, not related to reselling. It was a business trip for something else, for our custom frame shop business. And it was in January, and I got there and I had a coat, but I guess I didn't realize how cold it got in Vegas at night in January. I don't know. I was like, had like a space cadet moment when it came to that. And my coat wasn't heavy enough. And I was like freezing my tail off in Vegas. And so I bought this coat when we were in Vegas. And of course I didn't need it. When I came home, I was like, I already have like way too many coats. So anyway, I just sold this. I just sold this coat when I got home, and this is the coat that I purchased in Vegas. So this belonged to me. So this coat sold for $25.58. So there's a little story about how I came to own that coat. Next up was a 2017 limited edition 35th anniversary Care Bears Rainbow Heart Bear. And this we got at a garage sale for $1.50. It sold very quickly for our full asking price of $23.99. And if you ever see this bear, I would definitely pick it up because it sold super fast. And it was a modern bear. I mean, 2017, this was not a vintage Care Bear, but it sold really, really quickly. So I would definitely be on the lookout for this bear. Next up was another really good pickup. It was brand new. The guy who we purchased it from was also a reseller. He said that he got these from work and then never used them. They had the like plastic hang tag part on it, but the paper part of the tag had been ripped off. And they were very obviously never used. That paper tag was just missing. But these were Dunlop protective footwear, steel toe waterproof chest waders. So these were very expensive to purchase brand new. I don't know exactly how much they would have been brand new, but we ended up listing these for $124.99. And those sold for our full asking price. And we had paid $20 for those at the garage sale. I knew how much they were worth when we saw them, and I said, how much do you want for those? And he said 20, and I was like, definitely willing to pay that much. Next up was a vintage Ace Liner brand burl wood grain and chrome desktop stapler. We paid $5 for that at an estate sale, and it sold for $19 even on best offer. It did take a little while to sell. I don't know if I would pick that item up again. Although I do know that there are some staplers that are Bolos. I just don't know that that one was a Bolo one. I'd probably look them up again. I'd probably take the time to like actually comp them when I was looking at them. Next up was a women's size 12. It had like a light texture to it, but it was 100% silk pencil skirt. It didn't have a brand in it. It just had a size tag. That's why we picked it up. But I would not pick this item up again. It didn't have a brand. That made it hard to sell. We got this at a thrift store. It sold eventually for $15.18. It did take a while to sell. But somebody probably picked it up because it was silk. They might have just picked it up for the fabric. Next up was another really good find. This we got at an estate sale. We paid $25 for it, and it sold pretty quickly for $124.99. It was a Bose Solo TV sound system. It worked. It had the cord, the remote control, and everything. And we had a lot of offers on it, but it did eventually sell for its full asking price. Next up was a vintage 1965 West Indies map by the brand Island Workshop. And that sold for $24.99. We got that from the other business that we owned, so we didn't have any cost associated with that. Next up was a vintage 1993 11-inch Barbie high stepper horse. Her name was Tawny. She did have a battery pack, like she did something. I don't know what she was supposed to do, but when I got it home after I purchased it at an estate sale for $5, I looked inside the battery compartment. It had like a screw on it, so I wasn't able to open it at the estate sale. But when I unscrewed the battery compartment and looked in it, the battery was like extremely corroded, and we cleaned it out and everything, but it just would not work. Like it was beyond repair. So we did list it as does not work, had that in the title and everything. It still sold for $20.99, which I believe was a best offer. You can see it might have sold for full price. I'm not sure. Whatever it says on the tile over here is what we had it listed for. So it sold for $20.99. But the buyer was very happy with it. We got positive feedback on it, so they were obviously aware that it did not work when they purchased it, and we're still happy with it. I think that that item would be something to pick up if you ever see it. It did seem to have a pretty good sell-through, especially if it worked, especially if that item worked. Next up was a 2019 LOL doll OMG Big Sister swag replacement outfit and shoes. And I have no memory of picking this up. It says that we got it at a garage sale for 40 cents, but I don't even remember this happening. So I must, you know what? Actually, I do remember. I do remember where I got this. I got this at a garage sale and I had purchased a Barbie case. Like it was a Barbie case, and I purchased the case to sell, but then we ultimately decided not to sell the Barbie case because it had so much damage. But the Barbie case had some clothes in it, and that's where this was purchased. I just now remembered it. So this outfit sold for $15.98 on offer to buyer. Next up was a J. Crew women's leopard long sleeve ruffle neck crepe blouse. We got this at the J. Crew garage sale. We paid $2 for it, and this shirt sold for $34.99 for a full asking price. Next up was a 90210 first and second season. These were open, but this is a hard to find out of print DVD. So if you ever see this either open or sealed, this goes for a lot of money. So this is worth picking up either used or new, for sure. And this is not the original 90210, this is the remake. This one sold for $27.98. This was season 1 and 2, and we had paid $2 for it at a garage sale. Next up was 2 packs of 4, so 8 total Kohler undermount bathroom sink installation L-clips. We had purchased some new sinks for our bathrooms, and these were left over from the installation of those. And so we just said that our cost was $0 because they were just kind of leftovers. We didn't really have any use for them. So our cost was $0. These sold for $9.99. They took a long time to sell. Next up was a 13-piece lot of, I described them as super fancy Mardi Gras beads. These were not your run-of-the-mill Mardi Gras beads. These were very heavy. They had very large, very heavy resin and stone pendants. They were extremely fancy, like, you know, you wouldn't like throw these beads at someone, they might injure them. They were like really nice, fancy Mardi Gras beads. So anyway, we found these in the Goodwill bins when we were playing Bins Bingo. And when I showed them in the Bins Bingo video, I thought, man, people are going to think I'm crazy because I think I had these listed at like $52.99. And I thought myself, I was like, girl, you're crazy. You might not ever sell these. Somebody's probably going to laugh at you. But I had comped them and I couldn't really find anything exactly the same. But like I felt pretty confident with my price because these things were pretty unique. Anyway, these did eventually sell for $40 even on best offer, and we had paid just $1.18 for those. So I knew I had something special, and they did sell. Next up was a pair of men's Nike Black Flex Experience Anthracite. That's right, Anthracite sneakers. We got these at a thrift store. We paid $8.65, and they sold for $39 even on best offer. These kind of sat around in our store for a little while and did not sell immediately, but we did get positive feedback on those. Next up was a pair of J. Crew pants. We've actually sold these before. They got sent back because of the size issue, and we sold them again. This time the buyer liked them and we got positive feedback. These were slim ankle crop dress pants. We got these at a thrift store for $5.86, and they sold for $26.38 on offer to buyer. Next up was a vintage 1980s NBA Boston Celtics leprechaun green pennant. It was a Larry Bird pennant. We got this at an estate sale quite a while ago. We paid $1 for it, and it eventually sold for $33 even on best offer. We got positive feedback on that. Next up was a J. Crew women's white and navy cotton printed op art dots skirt. It was like I guess like a pencil skirt. We got this at a thrift store for $2.16 and it sold for $18 even on best offer. And last up, we sold a 2021 McDonald's Happy Meal Thai Beanie Boo Sammy the Great Horned Owl. And we got this at a flea market. We paid 50 cents for it and it sold for $10.38. It was new in the package and we got positive feedback on that. Last but not least, I'll go over all of the collectible cards from my husband's personal collection. This week we sold 6 cards for a total dollar amount of $17.44. All of those cards were low value cards. They were all valued at $10 or under. This week we did not sell any high value cards. That wraps up our video for the week of January 7th through 13th. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to let us know by hitting the thumbs up button. And if you're not already subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button with the notification bell turned on so you can be kept informed of all of our latest content. Stick around for the next video that's going to pop up right over here, and we will catch you on the flip side. Thanks so much. Bye.